My guest now is Sandy Walton. She's the Executive Director of Rebuilding Together Lynchburg. Welcome to the show, Sandy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. I've talked to you several times at the vigil and the weekly Vets Vigil and at other times, but you've been doing a lot of work for several years here in the Lynchburg area to help veterans who need work around their home. Perhaps you can tell me a little bit about Rebuilding Together Lynchburg, how it got started, and a little bit about the history of it.
Okay, thank you. Rebuilding Together did start here in Lynchburg 10 years ago when Pete Warren was our city's mayor. One of the burdens he left when he left office was where do we turn to, is there an organization our low-income families and friends can turn to for some kind of renovation on their home, some kind of home rehab, or in a lot of cases it's a home modification. Someone comes home in a wheelchair or can't do the steps anymore. He went looking for an organization that could help these families.
And how does this tie in with the Sears Heroes at Home project?
Okay. Well, after this last war started, the Sears on the national level started collecting money to help our veterans. Well, it went well, and they started looking around for an organization to spend this money, to give this money to help our veterans. So on the national level, Sears met Rebuilding Together. So they started a partnership, and I'm thrilled to tell you that they have raised over $12 million in these last few years to help our veterans with some kind of home repair need or home modification.
Well, approximately how many veterans' homes have you worked on here in Lynchburg, and what sorts of things do you do with your volunteers?
Okay. Well, on the national level, it is 795 homes that they have helped with these dollars. Here in Lynchburg and our surrounding community, we have worked on the homes of 20 veterans. We have put in an outside elevator for one gentleman, a World War II veteran. We have done a room addition for a veteran and his wife that needed a bathroom that would be handicap accessible. We have put in 7 or 8 ramps. I really should count back. We have widened doors. We have done at least 5 roofs on some of the homes here in our community.
Well, I know that you and your volunteers did a wonderful job of painting with a good friend of mine who has since passed away, but Hoppy Hopkins here in Lynchburg, and he was absolutely thrilled with the paint job on his really older home that he had in a historic part of Lynchburg.
Well, in that case, I knew Hoppy, I really did. Joe Harker is one of our local painting companies. He and his sons and his brother, they're all veterans, joined in and came over with some other volunteers. Steve Bozeman came, Bud Perry came, and they scraped and painted Hoppy's home. In that case, Hoppy maintained his home, did what he could, but he had a 2-story beautiful historical home that had not been treated correctly in the last paint job that he had paid for. And so these volunteers came over and scraped and primed and then painted Hoppy's home at no cost to Hoppy. And he was able to live maybe 2 more years and enjoy his home.
Well, I know he was thrilled with it. He told me about it several times. It was really a beautifully well done job. Well, how do you select the veterans in the homes to work on?
Well, we do have an application process. We must follow the HUD guidelines for low-income families. So if they own their own home and they have a lower monthly income, they qualify. And in this case, for the Sears money, we call it Heroes at Home. We match volunteers who are able to do what level of work that this veteran is needing at his home or her home.
And how much do the volunteers contribute to this project? Would it be possible to do this without the many volunteers? And you can mention names if you like.
Well, no, we could not do this without our volunteers. Pete Alexander is a plumber, veteran. He has donated his time. Krantz Roofing has already done a roof for one of our veterans who has since died, was dealing with cancer. Bud Perry built the room addition for us. Let's see, Frank Denham, and we have others who've joined in. It just takes everybody working together to do projects like this.
Well, I know that volunteers, it's always hard to remember everybody's name.
I know, you don't want to leave anybody.
You don't want to leave anybody out, because there are many people, I'm sure, over the years who have helped you. What are your goals for 2011?
Okay. Well, I am very happy to tell you that we just last week got a letter from our national office in Sears Hero at Home program. We are getting $9,000 in a few weeks to work on the homes of 5 veterans this spring. We're hoping to do most of the work March the 19th through whatever the next Saturday would be. So we are looking for roofers who would volunteer their time. We need an electrician who would volunteer his time. All of the homes always have some kind of repair need or a carpentry need. So at the end of March, we're hoping to put together teams. We're looking for volunteers to put together teams to come and work on these 5 homes. That we have money for the materials, but we need the skilled volunteer, and we have lots of helpers who would come in. A lot of our college students from Lynchburg College and Liberty love joining in, and they enjoy working with the skilled guys who can show them how to strip the roof shingles and put on a new roof and all.
So this is really one of those charities that the money you put into it and the time you put into it really stays local.
It does, and we're very appreciative, and these veterans have given their time to our country, and this is the least we can do for them.
What's your favorite part of working with Rebuilding Together?
Oh, Bill, that's a tough one. I love the volunteers who do step forward and say, what can I do? But our clients who come to us and ask, can you help me? With this economy, the calls are getting quite large. One family we were able to help a few weeks ago, well, before Christmas. He was a veteran during the Korean War, I believe. And in their case, they had saved money to work on their roof, to get some repairs done. And their son died. Well, funerals aren't cheap, and so the savings that they had was used to bury their son, and in fact, I think even friends had to help finish that, pay for that bill. And so a few months ago now, I'm sorry, some other friends heard about this family, and they certainly qualified, and within a month we had students under the supervision of professional roofers, and this family had a roof. And that's why I enjoy my job, to be part of somebody's life they have given, they have asked for help, and to be able to match up volunteers.
If somebody's interested in either contributing to the Sears program or the Rebuilding Together program or offering their services as a volunteer, how do they get in touch with you?
Okay, 2 things to say to that, Bill. One, as far as volunteers who would like to help on this March project, please email me at the word rebuilding@comcast.net. As far as contributions, please go to your local Sears. First, right now, just tell them thank you for sponsoring this program. But when Memorial Day gets here, that's their kickoff to raise money for the Heroes at Home program. So when you're shopping at Sears, buying that washer or dryer or clothes, and when you're checking out, please say, I'd like to make a donation to your Heroes at Home program.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
And I'd like to remind all of you, especially veterans, shop at businesses that support veterans and projects such as Rebuilding Together. And when you go to that store, whether it's Sears or your local hardware store or whatever it is, be sure and mention to them that you appreciate that support and you're shopping their business because of that support. We'll be back right after this.